And action. Welcome, Smutters, to the Sibsreadsmut podcast. I'm Helen.
I'm Ned, pulling my pud.
You just said not to say that again.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tighten down your safari hat and zip up your convertible pants. It's smut time.
You're so stupid. That's so funny.
Uh-huh. This is a podcast where we read, rate, review, and tell jokes, all while discussing our favorite dirty romance books. If you are liking our specific brand of bullshit, go ahead and smash that like, rate, subscribe button. Every little bit helps. If you have book suggestions and or questions, go ahead and reach out on those socials at Sibsreadsmut on Instagram and the TikTokers. Or email us at sibsreadsmut@gmail.gov. Actually, it's .com. And as with last week, we are going to keep this note in here because we think it's important to support your local library, Smutters. Mm-hmm. We love them, and so should you. Don't be an asshole.
Ned, I want to interrupt you. Can I give a shout out to my book club really quickly while we're talking about libraries? I want to brag about my book club. Oh, LA Maiden Call. Hello. We read our 100th book last week, and my darling book club friend Marley made us all, got us all 100 book glasses. I mean, great. She had her fourth graders make us 100 bookmarks, and they don't know about this podcast, and they never will, and got us little keychains and a little thing for my hat. Can you see it? It says Book Girl. And
Book Girl.
We live and die by our library. So your little support our libraries thing made me think of my book club. So shout out to the club.
Congrats on 100 books, Smell.
Thank you. Can you believe? You read like 300 books in a year, so you probably can.
Well, Mom and Dad did the math on how many her book club that's been going for, 20 years? How many books they've
40.
read?
I think they just hit 40 years.
Yeah,
More.
and it was something like 480 books, and I was like, yeah, that's about what I read in a year.
You are such a twat.
But,
you've got a lot of time in between your pulling the pud sessions to
for a woman that just said that's the grossest thing she ever heard, you are definitely using it a whole lot.
I did
Helen.
not know what it meant 10 minutes ago, and now I really feel like I'm gonna have to make it a part of my regular
everyday lexicon.
Everyday lexicon. Yep, I'm sure that's a libraries in the library vocab top 10 over there. So anyway, you can carry on. Actually, Mom's book club.
So you're ready to continue?
No, I have more to say. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, everybody. So Mom's book club. Did you read that article that they published? The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette published about Mom's book club. Dad sent it around. I don't know if you read it. So they had like an actual reporter come out and like interview the book club and all the different people in it. And so they interviewed Mom, and I think they came to the book club that Mom hosted at their house. And so the author of this book club, of course, has to mention EJ. And so they end up saying that the author's writing about Dad, and they're like, he's the gold standard of book club husbands. He's like walking around the table pouring wine for all the women, making sure that their wine is topped up, and doing the dishes and cleaning everything. And they credited Dad with like starting a book club of the husbands, which he did not do. That was some other book club husband, and Dad never participated. And they credited him with something else, like making a dessert. And Mom was like, I made that. And she was so pissed. And so now Dad walks around saying that he's the gold standard of book club husbands, and he is taking credit for a lot of stuff that it's not his. But Mom's book club had a whole article written in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette about it. And
that's fun.
It's pretty cool. I think it's 40 or 50.
Somewhere in there.
Might be 50 years. That's wild. They've known each other for 50 years. That's crazy.
Long time.
Oh, geez.
On today's podcast, we'll be discussing my favorite bad decision by Elizabeth O'Roark. Mm-hmm. I do believe we both enjoyed this one. Mm-hmm. But spoiler alert, we will be talking about these books in full, beginnings, endings, twists, all fair game, if you haven't read this book, hit pause and read. I mean, it's pretty short. It's a shorty.
Yeah.
I think it's only about 8 hours long. So I think Helen has a brief description of the book that she jazzed up herself today. So off we go, Helen, if you please.
Okay, Ned? Are you ready? Do you have your drink ready? Are you ready to be
strapped in and ready to go?
Are your ears ready to be entertained? Okay, this is My Favorite Bad Decision by Elizabeth O'Rourke. Kit comes from money and has some major baggage, working a job she thinks she's supposed to have, and dating a boyfriend she thinks she's supposed to like, but not even Kit can remember his name. She should probably marry him. Miller West is also rich and used to date Kit's sister a decade ago, but now is kind of dating her dad. That's funny. But secretly, he loves flirting with Kitten.
Yuck.
And has since she was 17. Yuck. I don't know if you're yucking at the kitten or her
definitely
being a
the
teenager.
kitten, but also when he found out she was 17, he did leave. So I mean, at least
That's
he wasn't Epstein in it.
I was gonna say he didn't want to be in the files. Okay, thrust together on a trip of a lifetime up Mount Kilimanjaro, will they learn to get along and bury past hurts so that they can enjoy each other's private parts? 2 people, 1 tent. No showers, setting the scene for the smelliest romance yet. That's it. That's the description.
Spoiler alert, they bone.
They do, believe it or not, get together. They don't smash on the trip.
On the trip. Yeah, on the once-in-a-lifetime up. And can I just start this off by saying, every time they referred to Mount Kilimanjaro as Killy, I wanted to shoot myself in the face.
I feel like there was a lot of things in this book that pissed you off.
There were.
Kitten,
and also,
Killy.
People might actually say that in real life. They might actually call Mount Kilimanjaro Killy. I hope they stub their toe. That is just the worst. The worst.
I mean,
I hate it.
We should have a guest on from the mountaineering community, and maybe they can fill us in. Because if they probably nickname all of the mountains. Like Everest is probably Evie or Killy. And I don't even know what other mountains you would climb.
K2. Tui.
Katie.
Well, as the fans are wont to know, Cover Watch.
Oh yeah.
Cartoony and great. I mean, it's
right up your alley.
Yep. Mountain. Killy's in the background. And,
I feel like she could have
tent.
titled it 2 People, 1 Tent, and it would have gone great as the title. That could have been the whole thing.
You had to remind yourself of what that video was actually called.
I know.
Before
I was like,
we
Ned,
even started this podcast.
Is it 2 Girls, 1 Cup? He's like, yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah. We should put a link in the comments.
Yeah, we're already shadow banned on YouTube. We're not. We don't need to put that up there.
The voice actors this week were Rose Dioro and Grayson Owens. What did you think of their performance on this one?
Great, loved.
Any issues?
Any feedback? Constructive feedback they would like from me? Some person on the internet.
I thought they both did well, but there were a couple instances of that like laugh, the like written in laugh where they kind of laugh before the sentence, and that just that kind of just
I know that pisses you off.
I don't love it
but I think it genuinely is because you're listening at like 5 times speed, like it's
2 times. Two times Hoo Ha Tuesday, but I do think because you're listening to
what
does that even mean?
Are you kidding? You don't remember the Domino's commercials from when we were in college? Can I get a 2 times Hoo Ha Tuesday?
No.
Are you kidding me?
No, I don't remember that at all.
Oh my God. That we will link. That was a phenomenal Domino's commercial in the mid-aughts when I was at Dayton, and we'd order pizza on Tuesdays because there was some amazing deal, 2 times Hoo Ha Tuesday. And can I get a hoo ha? And I would swing the door open at the Cayo house and be like, "Can I get a hoo ha?" And they would be like, "Sign here." They were never entertained. Are you not entertained?
It's their job.
To deliver to drunk college kids on a Tuesday. Yeah, they were really thrilled with us. But anyway.
Yeah, so I have no idea what that meant. But no, I did slow it down to see what their voices actually sound like, and once again, just cementing the point that I cannot listen to anything at one time speed ever again. No. But yeah, I mean the giggle laugh. I mean, we've seen that in some of some of the other series that we've read, and I can't always tell, because we didn't read it, if it's a byproduct of it's written on the page as like they laugh and whatever, and then they insert that into there, or it's just that something's actually funny and the actor is making that choice. And there's no right or wrong way to do it, and it's personal preference too. Some people, I think, like to hear that
makes it sound more actor, like like a scene from a movie,
where they're actually reacting to what's going on, in the scene, and it's personal preference. Just I ain't with it, but
not yours.
Yeah, but it was only sporadically throughout this. It wasn't something that it caught my eye and was throughout the entire thing. It happened.
Caught your ear.
It hit me here. They're like sniffing. Like calling out the sniffing,
yes.
Which in this one I didn't catch any sniffing notes.
I almost feel like they had to avoid stinky talk because so
they didn't shower for an entire week.
They didn't shower for the entire week. The whole premise of this book, the first half, which I loved, the first half of this book, I think because it was so different than like a normal romance, to be honest. So the setup of the book basically is Kit comes from money. She has some like mysterious past that we find out as the book goes on, but basically she's working for her dad's company. The goal is that she's going to take over this company, and he is having her work in all the different parts of the company. So she's doing, I think she's about to go into the finance thing. She's done marketing. She's done, it's
accounting
a media
department.
Media company. So he decides to send her on a trip to Kilimanjaro as an assignment for her to, I forget even what to learn, something about
I think it's just to write an article
for their media whatever conglomerate. So so she like shows up, and she right off the bat, I liked this. I think this annoyed the piss out of you. She shows up in like designer tennis shoes and like a $300 t-shirt, and she just right off the bat is like too bougie for this, and is pissed that like the sheets, she's expecting to show up in Tanzania, I think, wherever they start the hike into Kilimanjaro, and expecting the first night to be at like a beautiful resort
hotel.
It's all tents, and they're nice tents. They have, canopy beds with all of this stuff, bathrooms in the tents. They're like really nice platform tents. But she's like, these are not like, nice sheets and all this stuff. So she's getting
my
pissy.
3,000 count temperature controlled bed, and whatever.
Of course. And so like
But before you go on, I didn't have a problem with that. I the fish out of water, whatever. I didn't mind that at all. Actually, her being a spoiled kind of heiress thing, I think started off the story in the right vein. I didn't know where it was going with it. Yeah. I found more issue with him at the beginning of this, objecting so hard to her being that character. It wasn't that she was there in her bouginess and completely unprepared and woefully undertrained for this thing. It was more his kind of demanding, you have no right to be here kind of attitude that really got on my nerves. And calling her kitten off the bat just
So she shows up in here, and so she like finds out that Miller West, this is her sister's boyfriend from when she was 17. I think the sister was like 19 or 20. And so and I did like that they sort of framed like the first or second chapter. They tell the story basically that Miller West used to date the sister Marin or Mara or something. Marin. And so, but Miller and Kit used to bicker all the time. So they had this really like contentious but fun, like they'd pick on each other, and she always had a good comeback. And like the Kit, Marin.
I don't even know if you could call it even fun. I don't even know if you could call it fun. They were verbally sparred with each other.
Yes, And so they set that up really clearly. So, and then like 10 years go by. So then he dumps the sister Marin over text. And that's all we know at the beginning. Of course, like you can make some assumptions. I knew like,
well, 10 years ago, like 10 years didn't go by with them dating. Yeah. He dumped her 10 years ago.
He dumped her 10 years ago over text. And then, and like you can kind of, I read a lot of romance, so maybe that was just me. I was like, okay, I know where this is going. Like he left and dumped the sister because he was starting to catch feelings for Kit, who is 17 at the time. And so anyway, I assumed that, and then I was right, believe it or not. But so she shows up on this trip in Kilimanjaro. He is there. And she's like, what? And like, of all the people and everyone in the world, what are you doing here? And so we come to find out that this was a little bit put together by her dad. And so then we find out that Miller and the dad have been having like dinners, like a lot, like monthly dinners with each other. I don't know. So like their relationship comes together. And so they start off bickering, believe it or not. And there's no sex for the first half of this book because the whole first half is climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and they don't have showers and the toilets are in a tent. And I did like, did you notice when she was like, what if I spend too long in the poop tent? And everybody notices.
Well, like, and it's a tent, so there's no noise canceling or anything else. So it's like she doesn't want to eat the stew because she doesn't want to diarrhea herself, you know, in front of everyone, especially Miller. And that's the thing too, is like she even knows that he's hot, that he's handsome and hot, you know, whatever else. And I think both
always
of them. Yeah, but he is not lying to himself this whole time. She is completely obtuse about her feelings for him, and that she has been in love with him since she was 17. I mean, she's repressed some of that.
She totally had a crush on him, but she repressed it for the reason that her sister, when he broke up with the sister over the text, the sister was devastated, like couldn't get out of bed for months. And like the whole family still talks about how devastated Marin was by this. Marin is now married to a terrible guy.
But that's also not true though, because Marin, even at the end, when Kit comes clean, goes, I was dating somebody else 5 days later. Like I think that's a complete contrivance of misremembering by Kit from back in the day.
I agree, but we don't find that. So we don't find that out.
We don't find that out until much later in the book.
You're supposed to think that so much of the reason that Kit thinks I can't like this guy, I can't have a crush on him, I can't be charmed by this like, you know, macho protectiveness, because she thinks that her sister Marin is still in love with Miller, even though Marin is now married to somebody else. And
to a real asshole, though.
To an asshole. And apparently Marin is book 2, Marin and Charlie, FYI.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Which is their stepbrother.
Yeah. So things just keep getting more interesting.
Well, and you brought that up too, because technically this book is dual perspective, but it's really not. I mean, I'd say 95% of this book is told from Kit's perspective. Yeah. And Miller has interstitial chapters here and there that kind of drive the story along and give you a little bit more context. But, I mean, 85 or 90% of this book is all Kit talking about, you know, her point of view and what was going on, and Marin's feelings, and the mom and the dad, and how she shouldn't be doing this and how she shouldn't be doing that. And, you know, it was... I mean, while, you know, like at its core, it is dual perspective because there are 2 voice actors doing it, and it is told, you know, semi from both things. It's really a single perspective book. I mean, would you agree?
Yes, and I think having you say it like that is even making me realize, like, I got tired of this. I was upset. When I was texting with Ned yesterday about this, I was like, I'm obsessed. It's so good. I'm loving every minute of it. I can't wait to finish it. And then by today, by the end of it, so much of this book is her worrying about other people. That's the whole sort of thing, is that her dad... Oh, so soon? Wow, good for you.
We're 25 minutes in.
Oh, my word. You are a lush on a Monday night. And so the whole point of this book is that she worries too much about everybody else. It's, you know, Miller was her sister Marin's, and she has to take care of her mom. And part of her backstory and her baggage is that she had a boyfriend who died. And you find this out like piecemeal throughout the book, the whole story about what happened. But she was like madly in love with this boy, and with Rob, I think it is. And he was on a ski trip with his friends, some exotic place very high up in the mountains, and had a brain, I think, aneurysm or something like the altitude, and had an issue. And died. And so she
was in med school and didn't catch it and blamed herself
she blamed
for not
herself
identifying
for
the
this.
symptoms.
Yeah, because she thought that he was just drunk. He was on a boys' trip. She like heard girls in the background of one of his phone calls and thought that like, you know, that she just got sort of suspicious, and then she wasn't fully thinking. And she just assumed he was drunk, and he wasn't. He was slurring his words because he had altitude sickness or whatever it was. And anyway, so like that baggage she carries, literally, she carries his ashes with her throughout the entire story because she loves him and misses him and needs to like spread his ashes somewhere. And so I think she was planning to do it in Kilimanjaro. Why did she bring them with her?
She carries them everywhere. She's always just been looking for the right spot. Okay. And I mean, she's been getting the downtown rumblies, you know, from the beginning, you know, for Miller.
Okay, but I was like, for the ashes, because that's for what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, she just rubs them on her, you know, every now and again. He was the grumpiness of Miller and I would not even really grumpy. He's the guy that like gets along with everybody. He's the guy that talks.
Yeah, he's very charming.
Can win over anyone and whatever else, and that really pisses her off at the beginning of the book. But Elizabeth Roark writes the 7 days of the trip of them getting there on day 0 and the 7 days of them walking up and coming back down. You know, the 8-day trip is the first about 50% of this, and Kit is, you know, making sure everyone's blood oxygen levels are correct. She's, you know, making sure that a girl that has epilepsy is not being too affected by the whatever. And we see her taking care of this before we even find out about her
med school
past.
She told one of the ladies that it was a hobby. The lady was like, "Are you a doctor?" She was like, "No, it's just a hobby."
Yeah, and Miller was really pissing me off in the beginning of this book.
Why?
Because he was on her case the whole time about you know, you're unprepared, you shouldn't be here, you know, whatever else.
She runs marathon. No, she's a marathon runner.
Yeah, but she did no altitude training. She did nothing other than run, and she even calls it a slight walk uphill. But either way, I'm on her side. The fact is, he was being a dick. And then he keeps on calling her out in conversations with other people where she can't tell the whole truth, that she's the daughter of a famous model, and she's pretty famous in her own right by being a daughter of this. But he keeps on bringing up inside family stuff in front of a group setting where she can't respond in full to him being this way. And it was just like he's, you know, it didn't come across as the kind of like fun, witty banter back and forth. It came across as just, you're being a dickhead. To me, I
didn't read it that way. Yeah, I know. I definitely read it as like just a little bit not charming. I think he was almost doing some of those things to like bring her out of her shell to a degree, right? Like he knew she couldn't talk about some of those things, but then that was almost his way of like ribbing her and like also proving that like they had this history together. And I don't know. And then there was also like a younger guy. So she's 28 in this book, and the guy, Alex. So there was like the cast of characters. I think I really liked the first half of this book so much because the cast of characters was really fun to me. There was the whole, you know, group that they were hiking up the hill with. There was a family with parents, and then the brother and sister. Alex, the brother, had a crush on her and was like kind of starry-eyed over her. So I do feel like Miller kept sort of being like, dude, you might want to tell Alex that you're like technically engaged to somebody else, which she is, which she never talks about. And so
she's dating, not engaged yet. He's going to propose soon.
She's essentially, she's essentially
she's engaged to be engaged.
Engaged to be engaged. Well put. And anyway, so I didn't think that it was that jerky of him. And then what are the other characters? There's Gerald.
Gerald is the dickhead,
Yeah,
older
the
guy who keeps on
asshole.
going, "Oh, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get taken down in a stretcher," and it's him.
It's him.
And,
Of course, he falls and breaks his leg.
Yeah. And he's brought
it's
along
karma.
some young girl who's he just said, I'll bring you along, fully paid trip if you just join me as my date. And she knows he sucks, but it's a once in a lifetime trip, so she's like, okay. And then when he breaks his leg and has to get taken down, she's like, I'm just gonna finish. So it's like 2 more days. I'll see you down there in 2 days.
Yeah.
And that was fun. And
He's
then
like, "You have to
she
come
also
down." That was
tries to bang Miller while they're out and about, and Miller's like, hey, no. Like, thanks, but no thanks for your stinky beef. I don't need to share your tent tonight.
Well, and then tell how they shared a tent, because they did not originally. They each had their own, and then
They were the only 2 on the trip that had solo tents,
Yeah.
which she liked at first, but also was a little scared about because there's no locks on tent doors, and she was a little nervous about it at first. But then she liked having her own space to be able to change and do whatever. And Miller was so up in arms about and worried about her at night that he faked breaking his own tent.
He likes her. I don't feel like he's this like macho guy, like coming in beating his chest and being like,
He literally said, "I'm afraid that any one of these guys could sneak into her tent at night or wherever else." So he fake breaks his tent and just moves in with her, and he's pretty
likes
dickish
her.
about it.
I read it so differently than you. I read it as like he has a crush on her, and he finally, like, I feel like he has gotten permission from the dad again, who's sort of like hovering in the behind the scenes throughout this entire book. And
Who's a dickbag as well for setting all this up with for her own good. Like, she doesn't know her own mind. Like fuck that.
yeah.
I've broken you.
No, you have. I hear what you're saying, but again, this is a romance novel, so it's like you have to suspend your reality a little bit. But also, there was very much like, I think Miller and the dad were the only people that could really see, at least this is how I read the book, was that she was not following the life path that she wanted to follow. She was just like following the leader of what her mom and her sister wanted her to do. She was being pushed into this engagement. She was being pushed into this job. She was just doing, I feel like, what she thought she was supposed to do, because she was grieving, couldn't figure out her own life. She quit med school that she loved and was so passionate about, because she felt so guilty about her ex-boyfriend or her boyfriend that died. And so, like, I just feel like she was kind of lost, and she was not going to correct herself, if that makes sense. And her dad saw that and used Miller essentially as like a tool, and Miller was up for it because he had a crush on her. So I don't know. In explaining it now, it sounds very malicious and negative, but I don't know. I didn't read it that way. I felt like he had a crush on her. Maybe I was jumping to conclusion, like on my jump to conclusion mat of like
Office Space.
You jump to conclusions. But
get it?
Get it? But I feel like I knew the whole time that he liked her and had a crush on her, and has since she was 17, and all of his actions were because he had a crush on her. That was my perspective.
I knew that too. This book is not, the Da Vinci Code. It's like it is.
It's not a Nancy Drew mystery.
Yeah, it's not Hardy Boys. It's all there. But I think that their chemistry was, other than them saying that they actually thought each other was hot and getting all horned up for each other, I did not see that on the page for me. I think the way that he treated her was demeaning in some of these first couple of days on this trip. I think that she apologizes for her bitchiness. I'm like, well, no, some of that is her legitimately, and she should be angry at some of the things that he's saying, and the corners that he is verbally painting her into. It's like, well, okay, why? That has nothing to do with changing her life or you liking her. That is.
I just want every listener in the world to know right now that this is the brother this is my big brother. This is what raised me. This attitude of like, no, fuck that guy. That guy's fucking stupid. You're a goddamn Donnelly, and you are proud of it. And so, anyone I've ever dated, this is why. Well, and my poor husband.
Yeah, and your poor husband. But the first 5 days of this, I mean, I think I even texted you at one point. I was like, the visual pornography that she throws up here of the landscape and the descriptions of them actually walking up, and down there was phenomenal. And we find out that 6 months later, Miller is supposed to climb Everest. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking this whole time that we were going to see a lot more of them actually on the mountain, and she joins him at some point wherever else. And it turns out that the whole second half of this book is just them, in Turks and Caicos, which also had some very stunning visual porn, but also turned out to be just them in New York, kind of her waffling about wanting to date him while they're boning down the whole time. And that was, it was not what I was expecting after the wanderlust of them in the first half. That whole kind of tame second half of the book, I was like,
we should talk to Elizabeth, because I do think that if we rewrote the book, maybe they climbed Everest together, and so the second half was them like training for Everest and then going and doing it, and then I agree. I think for me, the book kind of fell off in the second half because I loved the like interactions with the other people on their tour group and all of that. And then they get back to New York, and the other cast of characters in New York are her sister,
the
and mom,
the sister, the dad, the
who are
stepbrother,
just kind of jerks, and like they're all very self-involved. And not that Kit isn't; she is a little bit, but so much of who, she's the youngest, and she kind of always comes by and just saves people. Her mom's been married 5 times. Her dad's been married 3 times. She doesn't have like these great relationship people, showing her the way. Her sister's in a terrible marriage that she hates. And the whole premise of the second book is that her sister gets divorced and starts dating the stepbrother.
Yeah.
And so, that's on the back cover. That's not a surprise. And
and the dad's duplicitous in his own nature. And he is trying to help her at the end of the day, and he knows that she does not want to take over the media conglomerate business, and he knows that she should be in med school, and thinks that Miller is a great guy that she should be with, and doesn't really care that Marin might have feelings about it. He even at one point says, well, sometimes you just have to hurt people to get what you want.
I wrote that down. That was garbage.
Like, really?
Terrible advice.
I'm like, really?
Ooh, I mean, maybe you have to hurt Marin. Like, she's kind of, well, and then because I feel like the way that they painted the mom and the sister as these like super selfish, narcissistic, obsessed with their looks people. They're models, so like that's not terrible, but also they were just sort of vapid. Like they didn't have a lot of substance, and and so she just had to cover for them all the time, and but then also she didn't really have much.
Well, she had to get her mom out of Dubai because the mom screwed up her visa or something. So she had to she's always bailing them out of situations. And at some point in here, the mom misfiled her taxes and
supposedly
expects. No, she did because her husband's pissed with her. She didn't have the heart attack. She did fuck up the taxes.
But maybe. But then. To Miller's point, which I agreed with, he was like, your mom is 55 years old. She's been modeling since she's had a job since she was 16 years old. She has 2 accountants and a husband. She does not need her youngest daughter to come home and fix her tax situation, which I agreed with. That pissed me off. So I don't know if she actually did or not, or if that was a reason to get her back to the city. And then, or maybe that didn't work, and then she faked the heart attack to get her to actually come back. I don't know. But
Well, the
they're pretty
taxes
manipulative.
the taxes had been going on since they were on the mountain. She faked a heart attack to get her to come back from Turks and Caicos when she was banging Miller for the whole
We
week.
should tell all of our copious amounts of fans why they're in Turks and Caicos. Basically, so they're on Killy. They're on Killy, Ned's favorite word. So they summit, they come down, great. They come home from this vacation. He is going on to go to a safari somewhere. This is like his big trip that he takes every 6 months. So they're going separate ways. She flies home, business class, lay fat bed. That's pretty accurate.
Lay
fat bed. And then she gets home and she just has like an appreciation. Of course, little rich girl goes and roughs it for a week, comes home and has such appreciation for everybody and everything. And she doesn't even care that the sheets are scratchy. So yada yada. And then she starts to really miss Miller. And so she's sort of like moping around. And she gets her call from her mom and her sister, and she has mom's birthday party. And the mom's like, "You need to get your hair done. You need to get your nails done. You need to look pretty." And
she also has every intention after leaving the trip on day 7 or 8 of the trip that she's going to break up with her boyfriend, soon to be fiance. She's
Blake?
coming back. She's going to break with him, Blake,
and
she already has it in her mind. But he's working out of his Vegas office and hasn't been in town, so she hasn't talked to him because she is so traumatized by Miller breaking up over text with Marin 10 years ago that she's never done it ever. And so that's a kind of a big sticking point, because in about a chapter and a half, the mom's birthday party is actually supposed to be a surprise engagement with all of their families.
I was getting there.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
No, you continue. So, well, you just took all my. So they were getting her ready for the
Take your
engagement
thunder.
Party. Ned, go pull your pud, okay?
No.
Anyway, the mom and the sister were doing all that stuff to get her ready because they knew that Blake was secretly coming back to New York to propose. And so she genuinely thought she was going to her mom's birthday party. They all knew that it was this surprise engagement party, and the dad was there. So then the dad texted Miller, who came home early from his safari to like stop her from going up to the party. And he like meets her on like the first floor of the party building or whatever, and is basically like, FYI, Blake is upstairs and he's going to propose to you. You need to run away now. Let's go to I have a house. I loved her. Like, he was like, I have a house in Turks and Caicos. And she was like, well, that's like a subtle flex, but I don't need to know about your house. He's like, no, let's go there.
And the dad and Miller had so little confidence in her being able to know her own mind and withstand the
they weren't wrong.
The shame. I mean, yeah, self-admittedly, Kit goes, yeah, they probably would have guilted me into saying yes in the room. And living, a lifetime's worth of Tuesdays. That's what she calls her living this humdrum life. Is it's like, I'm a Tuesday, which okay. But he whisks her off to Turks and Caicos. They bang for a week. The mom sucks her back in with a fake heart attack, and she waffles for another 5 chapters over hurting her sister and staying with
was
them.
Annoying.
And
not believable. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I wish it would have been less, but I don't know if it was unbelievable to me. But she set it up enough to where she's such a people pleaser that I was like, okay. I just didn't want to hear about it for as many pages as we had to.
Yeah.
But she finally, after talking with Kit, the grand gestures she talks to Marin about that she's in love with Miller. And she also, while breaking up with him, does say, I love you, but I got to break up with you. So I'm like, that's a great way to tell somebody you love them for the first time, is while you're actively breaking up with them.
It's over.
And then she talks to Marin about loving Miller, and I don't love how close their names are too. That got me confused a couple times throughout the book. But Marin totally gets it, and she's more pissed off about Kit lying to her this whole time than she was about her actually liking Miller, and she was like, I've been idolizing that relationship because that was the last time I think I was actually really happy, whatever else. And Miller then after that decides that she's gonna let Rob's ashes go, which okay, and there's a lot of weirdness with popsicles in here too. We'll get to the sex scenes here.
I know we haven't even touched on them yet.
Yeah, but that they're both moping around, and then the dad is telling Miller she'll come around, and she finally does, and then Everest happens, and they get it, and their marriage proposal on the summit of Everest. It was fine. I wish there was more travel in the second half of the book because I thought that was done very well. I
wonder if Elizabeth did climb my bestie
Kilimanjaro.
Elizabeth, if she went to Kili and climbed it to be able to write so well about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was well done. It was well paced, and the second half of the book was, and while it was 8 days up there, the second half of the book takes place over a couple other months, and I felt it was slower than the 8 days that actually happened on the mountain. But I here the first it's not even a spicy scene, but it's intimate. 35% in. Hair brushing.
I was say the hair washing scene.
The head hair brushing, because he's not brushing her pubes, he's brushing her top side.
Oh my god!
But it was it was very intimate. One of the TV shows that we watched, like one of the most intimate things you can do is wash somebody's hair. I think it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He talks about like one of the most intimate things you can do. Charles Boyle's like, you mean washing somebody's hair? And and so he washes her hair and then brushes it for her, and even she was like, ooh, it's pretty intimate. And then
she slipped and fell in the mud.
Yeah.
And so she had to wash.
So it wasn't for no reason.
Yeah.
But 44% in the nighttime hornies. She has a sex dream about Miller while they're sleeping in the same
next
tent,
to her.
and then just wakes up on top of him, and it's like, okay, and he didn't realize she was asleep, and she kind of wakes up and goes, oh, and he's like, oh, I was not asleep.
Yeah.
You were, and they're like, what were you dreaming about? And she's like, shut up, and like rolls over and goes back to sleep. And then it's not until 50% that we get their first kiss. I mean, their plans went on her after dinner and dancing. Like there's their last night in camp before she leaves, and she's technically still dating somebody. He has broken up with his previous girlfriend a couple months before,
a while
or whatever.
ago. Yeah, he's been single.
But it's like he just had to do it before they left. And okay, the great benefit of travel was another thing where I was like, her worldview opened up, seeing a lot of the things she saw, and we've been privileged enough to travel a lot in our lives. We've been to Europe.
We studied abroad.
Everyone
should study abroad if you can. Awesome.
Yeah, and we've had some fun stories traveling around, and it's a great way to expand your worldview, and we've traveled, I think, more than your average American, but it's something that everybody should save up and try and do at some point in their life. And
thanks, Mom and Dad.
Privilege. But 64% we get into the real bangaranging.
Finally,
erotic pop. The erotic popsicle switcheroo, and I mean from here on out it starts pretty hot and heavy. She tells him about that she's been super horny. She tells him about the super horny dream from the trip. Her fantasy has always been about him, from her childhood of her, getting railed on the kitchen counter. And then they just start mouth blasting each other. There's some serious nipple play. And they have a very brief condo talk before he just rams it home, where they
don't even say the word. She just goes like, he's
like, "Are you good?" He's like, "I'm good," and he's like,
yeah,
it was.
Thank you for the sound effect.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it leads to 65%. 1% later, bedroom round 1.5. I mean, this is really just a continuation of the kitchen sex they were just having. but
They
they
go
move
all
to the
night.
they move to the bed for round 2. It's pretty steamy. There's
Yeah.
an oral tasting menu, and they they really just go at each other. And 67%, he just fills her up, and it's a slow morning slide in before the before a boat trip. 68% front porch pop and lock. She blows him on the front porch of the villa, and he just sprays everywhere. And it's again, they started getting quick after the first couple. 74% pre-breakfast quickie. They're like going to meet the sister, and he's like, let me just get in there one more time. And they're really just breaking each other off left and right. And 84% post-dinner anger bang. So the dad invites Miller to come out to dinner, not realizing that the entire family's going to be there. And
I thought he did know that. I thought that was
no.
Miller didn't know the family was going to be there, but the dad did.
Yeah, the dad knew it was a family dinner and invited Miller out, and
Yes.
so Kit didn't know that he was going to be there, nor did Miller know it was going to be a family dinner.
They were like together before fucking, and then she was like, I gotta go to this family dinner, and he's like, yeah, I have a dinner too. And then they're at the same dinner.
Yeah, and she was letting some other guy look down her top the whole night, so he like anger bangs her when they get home, and just bends her over the kitchen counter and fingers her while arguing about hair ties and the ashes, and they're having a whole on conversation while he's just like up in it, which is like okay. And then 98%. I mean, that's the last one in the book. Catman doing it. They are on Everest, and the Everest sex, pretty hot. He's edging her at the top of the world before
she doesn't summit.
It's at base camp, but it's still higher than most points in the world, just at base camp.
And she goes back to med school, right? I mean, how does it end? And I guess we didn't even really talk much about his backstory. So he comes from money as well. He started an app. So he went to law school originally when he broke up with the sister, 10 years ago. And then she didn't know, Kit did not know this, but he ended up dropping out of law school, starting an app that helped connect like people in rural areas or small towns with medical services and advice and stuff. And so this was like his big, number 3, this was his big passion, was connecting medical, this app that he developed. So he does have a foot in the medical world.
It's the hole that he identified. He even said he's not that passionate about medical stuff, but he saw a need and he knew an ability to take care of it. Because later on he goes, this trip, that he did for Everest, but also that he did in Kili was, so transformative that most people around the world don't know where to get information on these big kind of expansive trips like this that are kind of niche market. And he's like, I'm going to design an app that has all these places around the world that will tell you how to train, what you need, all the gear, and kind of be a one-stop shop for how to do these amazing trips. And they are both just jizzing all over the idea at the end. But yeah, he goes, I see a place, or I see a place in the market that needs something, and that's what he's enthusiastic about. It's like, not that he loves the medicine angle of it, but he saw that people in rural communities needed something, access.
Yeah.
And he was able to fill that hole. And
he filled many holes in this book, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he did. And what did you think of the final proposal from the summit of Mount Everest?
I thought it was cute. Yeah. I mean, I do feel like it was very on brand of like he summited this mountain and then he takes a picture, that one of the guides takes a picture with him like kneeling holding a ring, and then behind it says like, will you marry, like there other people are holding a sign that says, will you marry me?
He carried it with him for 45 days to try and get it up to the top of this mountain.
So I thought that was cute. I thought it was, and it was in line with their whole climbing Kili. Did you like it, or are you going to be mean to Miller about it again?
No,
how dare you?
I thought it was good. You're usually the one that's like, oh, I hate the contrived proposals
don't love when
or
they
or
end
pregnancies
with
at the end, whatever.
pregnancies or marriage that feel forced. But I'm glad that they did that because I feel like it ended it in a way. This one felt like it fit. Like she's going back to medical school. He's developing an app that he can develop from anywhere and he can travel. So like she was like, I don't know where if I can get back into med school, which I'm sure she will. She's like, I don't know where I'm going to be, and he's like, doesn't matter. I'm doing this app thing. I can be wherever you are. So things like the pieces just kind of fit with them at the end, and that felt like a pretty natural part of that puzzle coming together. So I liked it.
Yeah, I think everything post the Turks and Caicos up until the Everest stuff, I was like, I wish there would have been more travel there, wherever else. But I think we needed to see her in her element for the Everest stuff to really hit home as well as it did. And, I think without seeing the people pleasing and, like I said, I could have used a little less of the internal monologue, but without seeing all of that, I don't think the end would have hit as hard and been as meaningful as it ended up being.
Ned,
and
do you think that you're a people pleaser?
as you do no teeth laugh.
Do you?
No.
I was going to say answer the question.
I mean, what are you smoking? Are you on peyote right now? Like, of course not.
Just checking in to see if you're really if you have that self-awareness.
Yeah.
No, I would not put you in that category.
No. What kind of tropes do you think were in this one? I mean,
enemies to lovers.
Really? Because honestly, they've loved each other since the entire inception of the book.
I think we were supposed to believe that it was enemies to lovers. And if that's the whole thing, is then they come to find out, oh, I actually loved you this whole time.
It's always been you.
It's always been you. Yeah, maybe that's a trope. Like
they even had enemies to lovers / it's always been you. Like so.
Was that the intern came up with that?
Yeah, the intern came up with that one. Where I was like, okay.
I love forced proximity as like like the one bed or two people one tent. So I was totally charmed when he was like, oops, my tent broke, here I'm crawling in. I thought that was cute, and she already had a crush on him, so I didn't think it was too weird. But so I liked that. Forced proximity for sure was a trope, and that's one of my preferred tropes. So
well, forbidden romance, the sister's ex-boyfriend and whatever else. And then the intern came up with age gap as well. But I mean, they're only 5 years or 6 years apart. It's not a crazy age gap.
I don't think.
It's not like some of these books where they're like, I banged my friend's dad, and it's like that's an age gap. That's a potential age gap.
There was, I think, Charlie is like the brother stepbrother is like a real womanizer, and they were like, he dated a woman and her mom at the same time, like a girl and her mom. And I was like, oh wow, impressive. So yeah, no, it's not that. I thought they were only 3 years apart. I didn't realize it was 5.
Well, and the intern came up with Grumpy Sunshine as well, where Miller is the protective, supportive,
Sunshine?
guy. And he's the sunshine, and Kit is the grumpy, defensive and like verbally abrasive, which she is. She is. She yells at all of the her mom's ex-boyfriends and whatever. She yelled at all of them. I mean, she was pretty shitty with Miller at the beginning, and the only reason that where we're supposed to find it charming later on is because he actually liked it, but anybody else could have very easily taken offense to what she was saying, and so I guess I can see that one too.
Yeah.
What were your favorite parts? Did you? I mean, I liked the trip, the trip, the whole trip part of it. And even the Turks and Caicos, I think, was described very well. But do you have a most favorite or memorable scene?
I liked Killy a lot. I'm trying to think of a favorite, the part that I really liked. I liked when they summited. I liked the, I loved the interactions with Gerald. And there was one time where Gerald told who is the name of their guide. There was Gerald, and then his name was like
Gideon,
Gerald.
I think.
Gideon, yeah, it was 2 G's. But Gerald goes to the guide, Gideon. He's like, "You should have selected people better for this trip." And Gideon's like, "Yeah, I should have.
You should have vetted. You should have vetted these people
Yeah.
stronger. And he goes, "Yeah, we should have." Like looking
should.
right at you, dickhead.
You suck. And so I loved the whole community aspect of like in the very beginning. They're like, you're gonna become really close with these people because you're not gonna shower. You're doing everything together for 8 days. So I don't know. I liked that whole section. I thought
that whole mountain just must smell like ass. I mean, my God.
I'm sure every mountain smells like ass. I wouldn't know. Haven't been that high.
The winds come sweeping down the plain, Helen.
Yeah.
Where'd you
What's
put
yours?
this book on this?
What you didn't have to tell me your favorite scene.
Well, the whole mountain trip in general, I liked. I think her falling down in some of these places. I don't love that. Her being clumsy as fuck, and the dad goes, "Hey, climb a mountain with no training." I thought that was like kind of just rubbing salt in the wound of it. But I liked her showing up, pampered, and finding out for herself that she's not in Kansas anymore. I kind of like that fish out of water initial jump in, and then the general descriptions of her climbing and going from tropical zone to the ice zone to whatever, I think was described very well. I think it was that experience it along with her was great. Where would you put it on the Smutometer?
I don't know. I don't feel like I can put tame because the scenes were kind of explicit, but like medium minus, maybe tame plus.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I because we're not adding because we're not adding another thing to it. I'm going to put it as straight medium across the board.
Okay, that's fine.
Because there, I mean, the entire second half of the book, 50%
was basically sex. Yeah.
was basically them boning, and it was pretty explicit, and pretty steamy. But it was definitely not higher than medium for sure.
So speaking of other books from our past, so we've read an Elizabeth Roark. We read her book last season, The Summer We Fell. This is like
trauma porn,
this is the book that I feel like we have stood up as like our main example of trauma porn. And I don't feel like this book was trauma porn. I mean, it had a touch of it, but not any more than I think your average romance of like her ex-boyfriend dying in this really traumatic way. And but none of it touched The Summer We Fell in terms of just like slapping you across the face with a huge piece of trauma. I like the trauma in this one, specifically her ex-boyfriend, because I don't really think there was much else. It felt cheekier. I like her writing. I think she's a really good writer. I far preferred this book over The Summer We Fell, and I would be interested to read the rest of this series. Like, I don't have the time, but I would read the rest.
The book 2 in this series is $5.99 on Audible, and I might just buy it because
wait for a sale. Wait until it's $2.99.
That is on sale. That is the sale price.
They go lower.
But we can. It's also on Kindle Unlimited for reading. So for the reading. Would you? I mean, you kind of just said it, but let's lock it in. Would you recommend this book?
Of course. I mean, I loved. There's just no. I've never read another romance book where they're climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Like, I don't know. I really just enjoyed that it was like something a little bit different than the norm. So I really enjoyed this one. I didn't ride the high the whole way through. Like, at some point I was like, okay, this was tough, but you explained it well earlier of like being more of a single perspective. I just think I kind of got tired of like her brain. But I loved the scenery. So yeah, absolutely read this one.
For sure. I agreed. And as we said, last time with last season with Summer We Fell, Elizabeth O'Rourke is a good writer.
Fantastic.
And
Yeah.
we even said that we would absolutely read more of her stuff, and now
Here we are.
we did. This is her newest series.
Is it?
The
The favorites.
yeah, because my favorite Bad Decision came out, I think, about a year ago.
Okay.
And the book 2 and I think book 3 are now out as well for this series. So I mean, it's a relatively new series, and I enjoyed it a lot and would absolutely recommend. What
are we reading next week?
Yeah, no, that, and also, have you read anything else this week that you want to suggest to the audience?
Thank you for asking. We read, so for our 100th book for our book club, 100, we read Lady Tremaine, which got rave reviews from the group. I did not even start it. Shh. But I'm going to be reading it. And what else did I just finish that I really liked? I'm getting, of course, pulling up my list because I have no memory. Okay, so I want to fight with you about this. I finished This Story Might Save Your Life. I loved it. I really liked it. And you were less impressed.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was medium. Medium okayness. I enjoyed some of it. I also thought I didn't get everything at the end. I didn't get all the twists and turns in there, but I called pretty much all of it early-ish on, and I was just kind of like, okay, and yeah, it was good. It kept me involved, and I listened to it the whole time. But what made you love it?
Well, I love any book that's set in LA. It's one of my favorite settings for books. And then I love it's like two podcasters. So they're best friends. And then they kind of have like a relationship. So not us, but because we are siblings. But I feel like, we're podcasters, and this, I'm sure, is going to blow up, and suddenly we're like trillionaires, and we're buying houses in the hills, and we're having like little recording studios in our backyards, and having $1 million deals with
so you really just saw us in the characters in there and then really identified with it.
No, because they like each other. I'm just kidding. I like you as my brother, but they like each other, like want to see each other naked, and so which is so obviously slightly different, extremely different than our scenario. But I love any kind of story that's like, they've got money because they can afford houses in the hills in Hollywood or wherever they are in LA. And I don't know, I just enjoyed it. I liked the house porn. I liked hearing about like where they were living. I liked hearing about like podcasting, and I loved that she got tired of recording episodes. She was like, I want to break. And
well, she was also being abused by her husband. I mean,
That's not funny. Sorry, I don't know why that made me laugh. But I just feel like she like went to him. She was like, I need a break from recording. And she was also like severely, and she had narcolepsy, which was an interesting sort of part of the story. And so I don't know. I enjoyed it. I wasn't even trying. I think being postpartum, not 6 months now, I am not as good at guessing. And it's not even that I'm not good at it. I don't try to guess. Like, I don't try to solve these stories. And I feel like when I was reading mysteries often and a lot, probably as much as you are, you automatically are solving them in your brain immediately. I didn't even like try to figure out the story. Like, I kind of had an inkling like, oh, well, I guess we're not spoiling this one. Go read it. But like, I kind of had an inkling halfway through when it, like in part 2, what was gonna happen, like who would become the narrator. But I don't know. I really liked it. Go read it. What about you? Anything you've been reading?
Yeah,
besides that.
I had a couple, kind of a brutal sect of reading this week. I did the Bad Bishop, which was book 1 by L.J. Shen, Society of Villains series.
What is that? Is it romance?
Yeah, ish, but like dark romance where they're mafioso on the East Coast, and it starts with the main character, the male main character, getting his eye plucked out by the brothers of
Jesus.
the girl that he eventually marries because she was assaulted and is pregnant, and they can't have her be unwed mother, in this mafia thing. So they marry him off to the one-eyed goon, of the Irish mob. Very dark, very a kind of over-the-top brutality, but it was interesting.
What?
I'll read book 2.
Oh my God.
And then
can I just say you are currently reading 35 books on Goodreads. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Are you actually reading 35 books?
Those are all the books that we have checked out in our library right now. So,
but you're not actually reading them all.
Well, I check them off the list as I go. So I mean, they're all on our to be read list. Right now, I'm finishing. What was it?
I just started the Book Witch. Is that the one that you're reading?
I'm about halfway through Bookwitch. Shadow Strike by Brad Taylor is book 20 in his action series, which I just finished. And then Milking Farm is coming up for me, which I know that you've read already. And some Assassins books and some other stuff. Yeah, there's a bunch of books coming up, and we got to read next week's book too. Which
no idea what that is.
Do you know what we are reading next week?
Well, it's probably on your list now of 35 books. Let me see if it stands out to me.
It's not actually. I don't.
Damn
I
it!
don't know if
then I have no idea what we're reading.
We are reading Catch Her If You Can by Tessa Bailey. It's her
romance.
newest. Yep. That's her newest sports romance, which we I don't know if we thought about this a whole lot. It is actually baseball again. 2 episodes ago we did In Her Own League by Liz Tom Ford, but this is Tessa Bailey. We had a different Tessa Bailey on here, but in Helen's effort to listen to and read books that she wants to read, we are not going backwards and reading a book that we've already read before. So this is a brand new read for her. I read this when it first came out a couple months ago.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Stop reading these books ahead of us.
Well, I didn't know you were going to add it to the list, Smell. I mean, what the hell?
Jeez.
I know.
Don't use
Good
my
God.
proper name on this podcast. How dare you tell people my real name?
Yeah. So next week, Catch Her If You Can by Tessa Bailey. If you are enjoying our bullshit and generally us laughing at our own jokes, please hit that rate, review, subscribe button. Generally, golden shower us with praise. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week. Smutters.
Stay smutty.
Stay smutty.
Safari.
Safari.
I forgot my animals, the giraffe and the elephant from Lucy's toy box.
Oh, and out.